So it's 3:30 in the morning, you're sound asleep, relaxed, getting ready for a big work day. And then all of a sudden you hear lights flashing through your windows. Open up. It's the police. Someone stole your Turo car and the police think it's you and they're at your house. This just happened to me last night, and I'm gonna walk you through what to do in this situation when your car gets stolen by a guest on Turo and how to deal with the police, investigations, and everything else. Hi, I'm George Madden, founder and CEO of CarRentalCoach.com, where we help you fast track your rental car business success. As always, make sure you subscribe by clicking the subscribe button, and to stay notified, please click the little bell. And as always, fill out our quick 60-second survey on CarRentalCoach.com, where we can see if you're qualified to work with us, where we can actually work with you one-on-one, and to make sure you're successful every time by learning through our trials and tribulations, we'll get you there a lot faster. But anyways, the point of this video, what to do when your vehicle is stolen. Step number 1, you notice your car wasn't returned by the guest. What do? You go in the Turo app first, and you report a late return. That's the first thing you do, and I always recommend doing that even before contacting the guest. I get it if it's 5 minutes or even up to an hour late. Sometimes I'll shoot a message first, but whenever it's up to 2 hours late, usually you're not going to get a response from them, or if you do, it might come later in the evening. That's just from personal experience. So to make sure you're covered with your insurance and any liability, report the late return through your Turo app, number 1. Number 2, check your tracker. Because if you worked with CarRentalCoach.com, you already have a tracker in your vehicle and you already know where it's at. So if your renter's out of state, hours away, the car was supposed to be returned, even more fishy. You know they're probably not going to return it. And Turo investigators really like people that have trackers because we save a lot of time for both of us and make a lot more money that way. Number 3, give the guest a chance. Contact them before escalating it any further. Things do happen. Maybe they mixed up the date of their rental drop-off time possibly. Give the person the benefit of the doubt, but still be wary and watching. All right, now your vehicle still hasn't been returned and it's 12 hours after the vehicle was supposed to be there. Make sure you call Turo, and now since you already did the late return, like I said in step 1, they're able to expedite it to an investigator, which they'll assign you and they'll give you a phone call. And then from there, you'll go over some questions the investigator has to best help you in this situation. They're going to ask if you met the person or if it was a drop-off contactless pickup. Number 2, they'll ask you if the guest had any travel plans that they discussed with you. Step 3, they're going to say, do you have tracking in the vehicle? And if so, where it is. I always have tracking, and they're always very happy when I let them know I do. Step 4, they may ask you to actually shut down the vehicle if the guest is still unresponsive so a tow truck can get out. What do I mean by shutting down the vehicle? Well, let me show you. So my devices all actually have kill switches in them, which means they're hardwired into the vehicle, professionally installed, and by clicking one button, I'm actually able to shut off the vehicle's ignition so the thief cannot take the vehicle or move it from the point I click the button. This has been more helpful than ever before. A lot of people talk about trackers that just plug into the port under the dash. I'm not a fan of those because if you're a professional thief, the first thing you're doing, you're grabbing that and ripping it out of the car and throwing it out the window. I mean, come on, why make it that easy for them? A lot of people try to go that way simply because they don't feel like spending the $60 to $80 to get the tracker professionally installed. And I'm telling you, please do not skip this step. You will regret it. All right, now at this point, when dealing with the Turo investigator, they're going to request that you fill out a letter they're going to send you, which is a demand letter you're going to send out to the renter's address they have on file. The demand letter is very important to have sent out because once that demand letter is sent, now you're actually able to file a police report. So after you send the letter, go to your local UPS and they'll provide tracking. Follow the steps on the letter by the T to make sure you don't miss anything. You want to make sure you're doing it all within Turo's guidelines. Very simple. They break it down nice for you. After that's done, you're able to call the police and file a report. So how this works, you have to meet the police officer in person, at least in the state of Pennsylvania, where I'm at. Luckily enough, they usually come down to the car dealership. It's about a 10 to 15 minute process. More 15 to 20 actually. And you'll sit there, they'll ask some questions, pretty similar to what the Turo investigator talked to you about. They'll get all their information together and then they'll file a report. So from my experience, I've never actually had to have the police take back a car until recently. Because all of my trackers are good and able to shut the vehicles off. I usually just send the tow truck driver out to grab them. In this case, the last person that stole the vehicle was a real professional thief because they took it to a mechanic or somebody that plays mechanic to rip the tracker out. So I couldn't find this one. But luckily, the police have technology now and cameras everywhere where they track license plates, and they were able to get a read on where this renter was. And eventually, they found them and brought my car back. Well, actually, they didn't bring my car back. They took it to a tow yard, and I'm going to show you a short clip of this experience. Hey everyone, George here with Car Rental Coach. I'm outside of McGann and Chester Tow Yard picking up my 2019 Mitsubishi Mirage that was stolen by my last Turo guest. So to give you a little bit of a preface, our guest ended up not returning the vehicle when they were supposed to, stopped responding to Turo investigations, and then when they did respond, sent us a bunch of long messages. And a rule of thumb, the longer the message they give you, the more lies there usually are in there. So make sure you just contact Turo instead of dealing with the guest once they start to seem a little bit fishy. It will save you a lot of time, and Turo usually appreciates that so they can get a jump on the case. So we're going to go in, pay the bill, and I'm going to walk you through how to handle this situation to make sure you're reimbursed when this happens to you. Number one, make sure you save this tow bill and storage fees because Turo will actually reimburse you for them, and you're going to provide that to your investigator that was assigned to your case. So make sure you pay with a credit card if you can. Sometimes these places will only take cash. You want to call Turo before you do that because these tow yards and junk yards can be very sketchy and try to take advantage and charge you way more than they're supposed to. And sometimes Turo won't cover that if the paperwork's not correct. And me dealing with this probably now the 50th time over the last 2 years, you learn a lot about this industry and be very wary of the people you deal with in it because it's very shady. All right, we're gonna go in and collect our car. All right, so I'm at the Mitsubishi Mirage. As you can see, it's got some damages over the exterior. Let me show you the inside as well. Seen them come back in a lot worse condition. Some scuffs. So just side swipe something there. And the interior obviously looks like heavily smoked in. Ashes everywhere. Other grime. Don't want to poke my hands around here too much. Wow, that's a lot of ash. Man, it's amazing how some of these cars can come back. Looks like some pregnancy tests maybe. Purse. Yeah, this car is pretty destroyed. Animal hair. All right. Well, let's get it towed out of here. I would drive it out, but looks like it's got flat tires. So just gonna do a tow. Make it easier for us today. All right, so we went back in. Very important, make sure you have your license in a form of ID to show them, or you're not going to be able to pick up your vehicle, as well as the insurance and registration if possible to make it easier getting the vehicle out. I keep all of those online within Google Documents and Google Sheets, so it was easy for me to access, but that's a common mistake I could see people making in not being prepared to get their car out. So they gave me this piece of paper. This is the receipt showing the billing. This is what I'm going to use to show Turo my reimbursement. And I'm going to get a tow truck driver out here to come get the vehicle because both the tires in the back look like they were slashed or something. So going to get him to tow it out, and then I'll provide that invoice to Turo as well. And I will say this one feels pretty good just because this was a very cocky renter. She kept messaging us some funny stuff like we'll never find her, and that she stole her identity from the black web, which I thought was really funny because everybody knows it's the dark web, so that's an indicator that she's full of it, right? And then from there she said, we'll never catch her because she's like a ghost, and we caught her, so I guess we're like Ghostbusters, right, John? Ooh. We win. So now you see you got your car, you have your bills. All you have to do is text them over to your investigator or email them, whatever you prefer. They're usually fine with text or email. And at that point, they'll make sure you're reimbursed for the entire thing. Fees to look out for: smoking fee. Usually when people steal your car, they like to smoke in it too. 2, cleaning fee. Usually the people that steal your cars can be kind of pigs. That's $150, by the way. And so is smoking. Another $150. Cha-ching, cha-ching. On top of that, late return fee. You're going to get the days that they were supposed to return the vehicle, but they were still driving it, reimbursed you as well. Number 4, improper return fee. That's a whole nother charge. And the fees keep coming, so I usually don't get too upset when people take the cars because we do pretty well on them. Because Turo really does help you out as long as you make sure everything's documented and goes according to plan. Lastly, you may be wondering, what happens to these people that steal your car? Well, I actually just received a letter in the mail asking me to come to the trial of the last person that stole the vehicle. I actually have 2 of them I'm allowed to go to right now as the victim, which I thought was kind of funny. I never saw that before. Like, my name is victim in something like this. But I'm deciding not to go or press any charges. It's not worth my time. I'm not getting paid to be there. And honestly, I don't like to make that many enemies and show my face around everyone that steals from me. So you do whatever you want. I can't give any legal advice. But me personally, I'm not going to trial over this. I didn't lose any money and prefer to just work on getting more cars on the road and making more money and doing these videos. So that's all with Car Rental Coach today. As always, please make sure you subscribe. And if you're interested in working with us, fill out the 60-second survey at carrentalcoach.com and see if you qualify.